Good afternoon. This is the Excel tutorial for your upcoming lab for the speed of the bubble tube. In this tutorial, what I'm going to do is actually show you how to use Excel. I would recommend that you watch this maybe a couple of times, and even during the process at which you're going to be using Excel for your lab, you can open this video to kind of help you and remind you what to do. So I'm going to walk you through a couple things, particularly the Excel stuff. The rest of the lab I will explain during lab period. So I will teach you how to set up a table, generate a graph, and model Excel trends, which is all things that you'll have to do on your lab. So let me show you just a sample of what you're going to do for this lab. You're going to create this document, and you can see right now that I have created a sample, and in fact I'll even let you look at the sample as you do it, just so you have something to kind of look at here. But I'm going to teach you how to make this in particular. Also, for your lab, all the questions that are on your lab, I want you to actually answer in Excel. So you notice that I have a series of questions here and how to calculate things, trying to make it as neat as possible. And then in the end, what you need to do is make sure that it prints out okay. In other words, that there's no lines or cutoffs from your graph. So I'll teach you how to do all that. I also know that I'm actually running probably a higher version of Excel, which unfortunately all of my computers do, and not the one at school. So I understand that this might be slightly different than what you see, and keep that in mind. Although the whole process of doing this will be the same regardless of what these look like. They look slightly different, so that's a good thing. It's not too different. Okay, so I'm actually going to start off with doing a blank file. So again, this is going to look different, and in fact, when you open up Excel, you should see a blank file like this. So as always, it's good to label your work. So Excel works by, as you can see, these are all cells I can click on, and this box is called a cell. So for the top cell, what I'd like you to do is write your name. So I'm going to model that. And you'll notice that right now the cell is not big enough, so I actually can move this over to make it fit. You can also, I'll just do this for a second, you can actually double click and it'll automatically size it up for you. Here I'd like you to put your lab partners if you have any. I assume you will. And then, of course, the date, the section number, and the term. So these are all features I'd like you to have. And again, you can see that I moved that. I'm also using my model to make sure I cover everything. Yeah. Title of the lab is also good, so let's put that up there. And that will be fine. So one of the things you're going to do during lab is gather data. And what you're going to gather, and if you notice here, is your tube, color, distance, and time. So we're going to generate a table. So I'm going to do that. So first of all, I need to write down what tube color I have. So let's pretend I had a red tube color. And then in one column, I'm going to do distance, and it's good to write in your units. So we're going to do centimeters there, and then we're going to do time here. Now, I can actually just press tab, and you can see by pressing tab or the arrow keys, I can move around without actually using my mouse. I'm going to double click here, and that gives me the ability to adjust the size of this. I'm then going to enter in my data. I'm going to actually just make up some data. Let's make it a little funky here. This way we can get some reasonable trend. This is not at all what you're going to see, but just something to work with here. And then your times. Now notice that for the most part that I didn't put any units here, because when we make our graph, it doesn't like when we have units, so it's important that you put them up here. Now, right now we want it to actually look like this. Look at that nice border. So, to make a border, you're going to highlight what you want to border, and you should see a button. It may not be exactly here. I actually think it's over here on your thing, but more or less this is the button. This is the border button. If you click this arrow down and click on all the borders, you'll see that it makes a nice table for you. And if you want to get fancy, you could highlight this and make this look nice. You can even make that red just to do that, which is good. The other thing we can make look nice is these numbers. So I'm going to highlight all of these and click on the centering button. Awkward. Okay. The next one down. There we go. Alright, now it's centered. So this way you can see that we're making, well, these are not centered, but I want them to be centered. So a nice table here. Now I'm going to, again, I'm going to save time by literally copying and pasting this right here. And then by doing that, what I did to do that is actually Control C to copy. And I'm going to change this to green. And make that green. And enter in my new distances. So I'm going to make these up again. There we go. And look at that. I don't have to do a lot of work to do this first section. Copy, paste. And however, I don't really mind about the order at which you do this. This is fine. But let's make the blue. Let's make the blue really fast. Let's go ahead and do like 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. There we go. Ta-da! In no time at all, we have created all of the data tables that we need. So now we're going to make this lovely graph. Now, yes, Excel is not intuitive when it comes to making graphs. So here we go. Your first instinct is to want to highlight this and just press Insert Graph. And then you pick one of the graph options. It may not look exactly like this, but something like this, and you'll notice that, okay, so this is the one time it actually worked. That does work, but I'm going to show you a different method. So actually what I'm going to do is insert a scatter plot. Now you'll see the insert and you'll see an option that looks like this, and it's called the scatter plot. You always want to use the scatter plot in science. So I'm going to click the one without all the crazy lines because I want this one. And when you do that, you should notice that it is blank. That is okay. You're not doing anything wrong. I'm just going to make this big, like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my mouse, and you'll see that it has an option to select data. Now again, even though I'm using a more newer version of this, you still have these options. Select data. Now it's going to give you this format, and what you want to do is you want to add a series because you want to add information. Now the series name is what is, more or less, what is it you're measuring. So for these cases, I want to do the tube colors, so red tube. That's the series name. Then it says series X value. So the X values is the bottom here, and I got to highlight those. So I'm going to click on this button that says select range. I'm going to highlight my X, which is time. Then I'm going to click this button. Don't worry about all this. Just, it's fine. And we have our X values. And you can see it corresponds, or it will eventually correspond to that. Now I'm going to choose our Y, which is our distance. So I'm going to highlight that. Click on this. Now I'm going to press OK. And as of right now, you can see we have some data points. Now, I want you actually to specifically do red circles. So, first thing I want to do is if I right click on any of these data points, I should get an option that says Format Data Series. Oh boy. So this is a little different. So you should get an option, and you want the option that makes it red, which is the fill. And this is going to, what you want to do is fill the marker, and the marker you want it to be red. Marker, fill, solid. There we go. Sorry, these options are a little different. You want the, sorry, this was the border. That's fine. This is the border. This is the fill of the marker. That's what I want. You want that to be red. And is there an option? Okay. And we're done with that. And you can see now they're red and they're the right shape. Now the next thing I want to do is add a trend line. So we should be able to, oh boy, of course this is different. This would be different. Well, there's usually an option up here that goes to format, and it usually says add trend line, but we can actually do that from here. And there we go, adding trend line like that. Well, we make sure when we add our trend line that it is linear. And I'd actually like to display the equation on the graph, just like this. And I'm actually going to set the intercept to 0, just like that, even though it's not. And I think that is everything we have over here. Yep, perfect. Perfect. Okay. And there you go. That is the first plot. Now, what we got to do is change some of this chart features. So we want it so that we actually have some, there we go, perfect. Layout number 1. I want to change these, so I chose layout number 1, and I'm going to call this the distance of bubble traveled over a period of time. So usually you want your titles to be very explicit, and it's not speed, because that's not what we plotted here. We plotted, in terms of our title, distance, and this distance was in centimeters, so it's important that you add that. And then we have time, and that's in seconds. And there we go. Okay. I'm going to show you how to now add another data series here, and I have 2 minutes to do that, so I might run out of time. So if you notice that I end abruptly, I apologize. I'll just continue with another video. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to do the same thing I did for the red plots to get my green plots on here. So first I'm going to select data. I got to add my data. I'm going to call this the green series. I'm going to click on this button right here to get our X, which is this. Click that button again. Now I'm going to highlight our Y's. Click that button again. Then I'm going to press OK. And then OK again. So you can see we have our orange dots for the green, and I don't want that. I want that to be green. So I'll pretend that this is not here. So I'm going to right click, Format Data Series. And then I'm going to go to the marker. I want the marker fill to be green. It's nice green. Let's use that green. There we go. Oh, the border. Let's not give it a no border. Oh, I guess so. Okay, the border is going to be green too. That makes the most amount of sense. Okay, perfect. So you can see, oh, almost. No line, there we go. Now I want these to be up. We're going to run out of time, so I apologize. I'm going to have to stop short. You'll have to do another video. So I'll see you in the next video continuing this.